Welcome to ViviTalks. I'm Vivienne Aerts. Join me in celebrating 100 talented female musicians from my last album, Typuhthâng, empowering female cacao farmers in Congo's Virunga State Park and restoring the rainforest. Delve into the musical journeys, creative processes, and unique perspectives of these talented women that were involved in the making of this album. Listen to a conversation between Valerie Giglio and your host, Vivienne Aerts, as we talk about Valerie losing her voice because of a stroke and teaching herself how to sing again, being accepted at Berklee College of Music, all within 2 years. For Boston-based vocalist producer Valerie Giglio, it's all about bringing back that vintage sound and style and pairing it with electronic dance music. Originally starting her solo career singing jazz standards, Italian language songs, and unique renditions of hits from the 40s through the 80s, she transitioned to the Electro Swing genre in 2021 and has released several CDs to date. Valerie has been singing professionally for over 2 decades. She's a voting member of the Recording Academy and attended Berklee College of Music and reinvented herself as an electronic artist with a retro swing and jazz edge. Yeah, welcome, Valerie, to my official podcast. It's been such a pleasure to have you on my record, and we've known each other for so long, right?
Yes.
I think we met in Umbria Jazz, but do you remember which year it was?
Yes, it was 2013, my first year. And I remember I first met, the day that I met you, we were doing an open mics during one of the nights. It was outside on the Berklee stage. And you were taking names of people that just wanted to go up and do it. And that's the first time I met you.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Well, actually 10 years ago.
Right. Yeah, I was there with Berklee that year. My first time at Umbria Jazz was in 2007, I believe. I've been there so many times. It's my favorite festival, as probably your favorite too.
Oh, absolutely.
It's the best, right? They have the
I miss
sunshine and we have to go again.
I know. You know what? If you go again next year, I mean, like I would love to do. And a couple of other people, like I don't know if you remember Charlotte. She was around my age.
Charlotte Lang.
Yes, so she wanted to go again too. So I don't know, maybe we can all see if we could go next year or something, because I miss it. I haven't been in a few years, you know. Yeah,
same here. It's been just busy. But yeah, that's how we met. Isn't that great?
Yeah.
2013. That's wow, that's been 10 years then.
10 years.
And a lot has happened. So let me just go back a little bit. You're a musician, you're a singer, you have different qualities. Aren't you a lawyer as well?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And you went to Berklee after you went to Umbria, right?
Yes, I went to Berklee.
So tell me, how did you get where, who are you? How did you get where you are now?
Okay, sure. So I am a lawyer, and so I've been a lawyer since I think 98, 99, and I was always a singer, and I always performed with different bands, and then I played with the Alvega Trio. He was a jazz, jazz legend in Boston. I was one of his singers, and so I really I just loved performing, and I loved all that. And I'm not a jazz singer, but I like to sing that kind of like standards and old music and stuff in Italian too. So I like all that. So then I found Umbria Jazz with Berklee, and I said, oh, why don't I do that? Because I needed a break, So I did that in 2013. It was an amazing experience. It really turned me on to Berklee. And I was like, oh, I would love to go there and get even like a master's or something. Like I was thinking, what could I do? Because I already have, my undergraduate and my law degree. And so then, so I did that. And then I was getting ready to go to the next year in 2014. And then I just had this crazy stroke out of nowhere. And then I was in the hospital, and I lost my singing voice, and I lost my, all my left side and all that. So that totally derailed me. But then I went back the next year And then I said, you know what? I'm like, I really would like, and I really could barely sing at that point, but I was still, I said, well, why don't I do this? And then I decided, I said, I would really love to be able to audition for Berklee and go to Berklee for a diploma program. And because now I'm a disabled student, I could go there part-time and kind of, and make my own schedule like that. So that's what I did. I said, okay, I'm going to work really hard on my vocals. So I worked so hard every single day to get my voice back. And then in the winter of 2016, I auditioned for Berklee. Then I got accepted, and then I deferred it until 2018. And then, and then I started going, and then, I still did my law. I did appeals work, criminal appeals, because I'm a criminal defense lawyer. So I did the appeals, on my laptop and stuff while I'd be waiting at 150 Mass Ave in the morning. And yeah, it was great. I majored in electronic production and sound design, and vocals were, the voice was my instrument, which everybody thought I was crazy. They were like, how can you, there's no way, you lost your voice in 2014. Yeah. How do you think you're going to have 2 years to get into Berklee? And I was like, I'm going to do it. So then, that's what happened.
Well, it was also probably a great, great dream to, a great dream to work for, right? It was perfect,
absolutely. I mean, that's all I did
to get out of that.
Exactly. Like I really, I started performing around here. I mean, I started performing the second that I had some sort of vocal ability back. I mean, I performed without vibrato. I did it I barely had my voice, but I said, well, I got to do open mic. I did an open mic. I started taking singing. I had a vocal coach again, and I did rehab. And so then she said, why don't you do the open mic that we have? There's a lot of kids, but that's okay. So yeah, I started doing that, and I could barely do one song. I had to put a chair on the stage so that I had to take a break in the middle of the song and sit down during the instrumental, but I still did it. And I started doing that. And then little by little, I would do 2 songs and then 4 songs. And then, so now, it's back to normal. I'm actually, doing a lot of producing as well, and writing my own, doing a lot of electronic production and electro swing music with my musical partner, Samuel Chera from Olympia Jazz. And Berklee as well,
Wow.
So,
So music saved you, really.
Okay, music
right?
definitely saved me, because I was sitting here, I had nothing. And I remember in the hospital, I was, I had no voice and no left side. So I couldn't play any instruments that I was normally play guitar, or something, piano.
You couldn't really walk too, right?
Oh, no, I couldn't walk at all. I had to relearn everything, and I would be.
Were you able to speak, or it was just completely?
Well, see, the thing is, one side, it was like somebody came along and just went like this. So I didn't get the scope in the vocal scope until about 6 or 7 months later, when I started to get everything back. So he said he's like, it doesn't look like it's paralyzed. I can't really say 100% if the vocal cord was paralyzed, but I couldn't really speak, I could speak, but it was
extreme. You could make sound, but it wasn't.
Yeah. And then I couldn't really sing, and I had no, I had nothing. And I remember screaming. So I'd have the speech therapist, and she tried in the hospital to do things with me. And I only had one volume level, and that was screaming. So I'd be like, and it was totally off key. And then, and then the music therapist would come in with a guitar, and we'd do some stuff. And even though I couldn't really do it, I could I could tell I'd be like, oh, he's off on one chord. And like, I don't know, like I could totally get the, I knew what I was supposed to be doing, but I just couldn't get there, I guess. Yeah, physically get there. And then we would have music classes in the therapy room. It was all elderly people and me. So we're all sitting there in the wheelchairs. They were like maybe 80 years old, whatever, because, I'm the only kid there with that, kid. I was like 42. So then they would say, okay, now we're going to do music stuff. So I said, oh, that's great, music therapy. And it was like you banged on a cup, it was just real, like people had a bang on a cup, and I started crying. I was crying so hard because I was thinking, I'm like, I don't know, like a week ago, I was rehearsing for a show with all the Berklee professors. I was going to do like there was a couple of Berklee professors in this. It was Chick Singer night, and I was rehearsing for that. And then here I am a couple of days later in a class with elderly people in a wheelchair, no voice, and and banging on a cup. And I was like, I just couldn't even, it was crazy. And then, but I really said, I'm going to have to do this. I need to do it.
Get through it.
Yeah. I had, luckily my neurologist, he's unbelievable. I had a neurologist from Mass General, and he was just like, because I had a patient with a stroke that was a trumpet player, and, he was just, because maybe you might lose a note here and there on the top or the bottom of your range, but he goes, I think you'll get it back. I definitely, he was really giving me that. Yeah. So, I had that in the back of my mind. And then I did everything possible. I went to the Mass General Voice Center. I did everything that I could. And I actually couldn't work because I couldn't drive. I lost my license, obviously. And I couldn't go back to court. I was in no condition. So all I did was just rehab at home, and so, and that was it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So powerful.
Thank you. Yeah. Music really, really the more I just kept doing it, and it really made, it gave me a feeling that I was still a musician, because when I would sing, I was like, oh, well, when I would, even though it was terrible, but I still got up there and sing, it just made me feel like, okay, well, I'm still a musician. And then people asking me to do things. Right after my stroke, I remember a friend of mine, who won a Grammy winner, Laura Sullivan. She was a new age piano artist in California. She was putting together similar to what you had done, that I was so honored to be on your CD. This was something similar where a lot of people contributed, and I really felt like I just did one note. That was my contribution. And I sang it, and I did a video, and she put a video, it was called 500 Voices, I think. Yeah. And I was so excited to do that, just that one note. And that made me, again, it made me feel like, oh, Valerie's still a musician. We'll ask her. So, it was great. Yeah. So, it was a great opportunity. And now, I've been back performing. Yeah. I guess I would say since, when did I first have another gig? Well, yeah, since about a year or so after the stroke, not even. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. You got some energy. That's amazing. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm so happy also that you're now able to focus more of your life on music, right?
Yes. Well, you know what? I'm, like I said, I'm a criminal defense lawyer. And so I practice in, in one court, and I do that, and I do the music, and so the producing, which I just love to do it. It's just great. I'll come home and I'll just work on it, and I love it. And I've had a lot of success. Samuel and I have really been, a lot of our songs, one of them got picked, one song, an EP that we did last year got picked up by a UK publisher. And then we got a Global Music Award. And then a record label in Berlin remixed one of our songs in like a house version, and that's got like hundreds of thousands of views on listens on Spotify streams, and so we've been lucky that in the electro swing community, it's a small community, and we've met a lot of people, and now they know who we are. And because he plays the vibraphone, it's a little unusual. So it's like, they're like, oh, it's really cool. And yeah.
And for the listeners, his name is Sam.
Oh, Sam Chera.
Right.
Yeah. So
yeah,
he was a performance major. So
right. Yes.
Yeah.
I believe I went to Berklee around the same time with him.
Well, actually, no, he graduated in 2020.
Oh, right. So yeah, I was working at Berklee. So we met him as a student. That's right.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, I'd love to hear you describe a little more about your creative process and how you approach writing and producing, and what gets you there.
Okay, so I'm glad you asked that, because what I do is I start with, I use Ableton. And so then I usually start with just an idea of what I want, just kind of like a theme. So because it's electro swing, I don't want to say it's novelty, but it's got that like 1920s kind of thing. And you can do a lot of things that, you wouldn't be able to do in other genres, I guess. And I think about the concept. So for example, I wrote this song about old Hollywood. It's called Sunset Boulevard. And I just said, okay, I want to have like that Gene Krupa, that drum, that famous sing. I want to have something like that beat. So I started with that beat, and then I layered it. I layered some brass and like a hook, bum bum bum, ba dun 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 dun. And so then I do that, and then I start thinking of the verse and like what I want to say, and then I want to get a catchy chorus to go with it. And then when I'm all set with that, or when I have at least the bones there, and then with the vocals, I'll send it to Sam, and then he'll put in a vibe solo or little other vibe parts. And then our other friend from Berklee, from Umbria Jazz as well, Michele Romeo, he mixes it, and then he sends it out to be mastered. And then that's kind of the process. I use a lot of effects. I use a lot of Ableton in plugins. I use a lot of plugins. I craft my own piano parts using a lot of using a plugin that I can just kind of just work around that, and I can really make it sound like anything I want. So I like that. Yeah.
Cool. Did you ever consider using real instruments then for like brass or?
I have, but because it's quicker and easier for me just to do everything because of sound design and stuff, I can just, a lot of it, I just use on here. I mean, I'm thinking I might ask a few people if they want to come and do some stuff on it. But for right now, for producing, I just use a lot, like native instruments, and a couple of other plugins that I use. Loops, I use a lot of loops, and then some old movie. I use a lot of, almost every song, I like to have an old movie dialogue somewhere in the song, or a vintage dialogue, and a bunch of different vintage effects. Yeah, so that's how I do that.
Oh, yeah, very cool.
Thank you. Yeah, I love, and the thing is, you got to love it. Like, I love retro and vintage. As you can see, I dress that way all the time. That's what I love. And that's what makes it a lot easier for me to come up with the creative concept about the song and the instrumentation. Like, I just love the old stuff. I've been into the 1920s too, like, and all that stuff. So the jazz age. So that's another reason why it works.
Right. And then putting the electronic vibe on it. That's, yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
really, really cool. Yeah.
So,
Awesome. And then, so how do you do that for live performances?
Well,
You play live with Patch, or how do you then, right?
Okay, so I'm glad you asked that, because that's what's happening right now. Like what I've been busy. I don't know if you've seen my posts. I've been really busy
Yes.
putting together my live rig, which includes video.
Oh.
So I use a DJ controller. And the reason why I do that is because with this kind of music, I can't recreate it live. I mean, it's my original music, and I also can't just put a guitar or ukulele up there and start singing, you know, at an open mic. So I have to.
You also don't want to be like karaoke style, right? You don't want to just play the track and
exactly.
So how do you then do it?
It's a hybrid. So I play the track like a DJ would, and I have different effects, and I will usually leave one or two elements out of that track that I can play live with, or do like effects or something like that. So that way I'm actually engaged with the audience. Then, and I also have like on another part of my rig is a geo shred. It's like an instrument, you know, that it's like it comes on an app, and it sounds, modeling on it is incredible. It sounds just like a trumpet or something. So I can play that on an iPad on the right side, maybe during some instrumental breaks of a couple of songs. I play that. And then
can you describe that pad a little bit for those who don't know, because that's a real cool thing, right?
It is. I like it. I love it. So basically it's an app that you can just get on the App Store. And it's an actual instrument. And so it's laid out like it's like a grid on the iPad, and you can pick any instrument you want, really. Guitars, obviously, tons of different guitar settings, trumpets, trombones, violins, flutes, clarinet, anything you can think of, and a lot of instruments from other cultures too. So they've got a plethora of instruments. You can set it to the key, you can do whatever you want, you can fix the layout there, and then you can actually solo on that, add vibrato, you can even add growl, you can add anything that you would have in a live, let's say, trumpet. You can cup it, you can do anything you'd want. So, you know, I can play that. And
so
then
you touch the screen of the iPad and you wiggle and you move to different places on the iPad to create like the notes, right?
Yes, it's labeled. The notes are labeled. So it's like I'm not blind, you know what I mean? So I'm not flying blind. It's like E, F, G, F sharp, G sharp, whatever. So then I can just touch that. And actually that's good for me, because my left hand, even though it's you know, it's backward, it's not 100%. And I can't really, when I'm playing guitar, it's really tough to switch chords, and I miss playing violin that I used to play violin for years. So now I can play it all on this side here as fast as I want to go, and it's really cool. And then I add in MIDI controllers, and then for my vocals, I actually have a vocal processor, Roland VT4, and I use that. I plug everything in the mixer, including a video projector. And in my software, my DJ software, I can do a video, sync it with the music, stutter it, and do the effects. I can do that, and it's pretty cool. So,
and then where do you get the visuals? You film, or you
So I make my own music videos. I will put it together in like iMovie or Rotor videos, music videos. I will do that, and then I will throw that in, then throw my audio in, and it all comes up nicely. And then I just hit play, and then everything, you know, in theory has been working, but in practice, I actually just bought some more controllers yesterday to see if I can have built-in mixers. That's just another thing to just cut down on the size of my gear, because I'd be calling up and they'd be like, whoa, that, you know, slow down there. That's kind of crazy.
But so, a lot of cables.
A lot of stuff. I know, it's a lot of cables. We just had a gig last week that got rained out, but you know, it would have been better for me had I not had so many cables I had to worry about throwing in, you know, the car or anything like that. So yeah, the live setup is really, really cool. I can't wait to the next time that I perform. So yeah.
Oh, that's really amazing. I have this question.
Yes.
It's like, can you share a significant moment when your music had a profound impact on somebody's life?
Sure. You know, so I wrote a book about my stroke, and I have done a lot of like I've done several appearances, and they always make me they want me to sing a couple of songs to kind of demonstrate. And so it would be karaoke style, you know. So I would do a presentation, and then maybe I put a couple of tracks on. Right. And a lot of people after the presentation, you know, they see, okay, well, you know, this happened to her, and then now look where it is. So maybe I can do that too. If some people lose their voice for whatever reason, or not even necessarily their voice, but anything else, you know. A lot of stroke survivors, you know, I have a lot of stroke survivor friends, and, you know, some of them cannot speak, or some of them can speak, but it's very difficult. And everybody, you know, I try to stress that everybody recovers on their own pace. I'm sorry. I'm going to clear out my text messages here. Somebody was texting me and it's coming through on my screen. So as I was saying, you know, a lot of people, you know, they maybe think, oh, well, I'm not going to be able to get anything. I can't do this. I can't do that. And so when they see that I'm doing this, I hope that, you know, it can give them some hope that, you know, it's okay, and that nothing is ever in stone or impossible. I guess. Yeah. Because I also do a lot of volunteering for the American Heart Association, and they do have me sing a lot. I've sang the national anthem at the Boston Bruins game. I've sang at the Esplanade for, you know, and so it's just to show that, you know what, it's not perfect. It's okay. And, you know, everybody can work at their own pace, and, you know, you should never give up.
Yeah. That's amazing. Do you happen to know Kyle Mengenberg? He founded in New York. He founded this meetup group for stroke survivors. It's called the Brain Bar, and I was invited to do this little talk at some point about how to let the music play itself. Right, the stuff I do, mindfulness stuff, and I was talking about, you know, how you actually study things at a deeper sense. But that whole crowd that he gets is so wonderful, because they're all fighters, right?
You'll have to send me that. Yeah, I would love to. I would love
to connect you with him, because he's a real connector, and his way, he suffered a stroke when he was like 12 or something, maybe 13. And he must be my age, because at that time he lost all control of the body. He was in a coma for a while, and then he got out of it, and there was no voice, obviously. And he had a speech therapist that played Britney Spears for him, and that's his way out. He started because Britney Spears was really a hit at, you know, at that time in history, and he was like, Britney Spears helped him back to his.
Gosh, that is so amazing.
That's his story. Yeah,
that is so amazing. Guys. Wow, I would love that. Yeah, wonderful. Yeah,
but that's it's, I mean, if you hear these people's stories, or how they find themselves back, and I mean, it's just like heartbreaking, but so beautiful too, right? Well, they're doing it.
It's a lot.
What's really important in life, right?
Absolutely.
What is actually important?
Yeah, I mean, I think back now, and like, you know, like I want, like, a lot of people can go through life and have nothing, that's great, no problems and whatever. And then, unfortunately, some other people, when they're very young or whatever, they suffer these things where they're never going, it permanently changes them, either physically or mentally. And so, it's just all about, getting the most out of life. After my stroke, and, my husband always says, well, you want to go out all the time. Yeah, I want to go out all the time. Like, I can never stay still because I want to enjoy everything while, because there was time that I couldn't do anything, so yeah. So, yeah. And actually after the stroke, I traveled to Italy. I mean, when I saw you in Italy that following year, I mean, I traveled to Italy even by myself to go to Umbria Jazz. I remember, when I was thinking like, wow, 2 years ago I had a stroke and now I'm going to Italy by myself, so
yeah,
definitely a lot. You can, I guess you're capable of more than you think, that's really taught me. Because if I was to go back 10 years from 20 years ago, I would say, there's no way, how could I ever do that? I don't know if I could do that, but you do. And a lot of people say, oh, I could never do that. I'd be still paralyzed in a bed. I don't think they would be, because you really are capable of more than you think. So.
Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
Awesome. I have another question.
Yes.
Have you, because, my project is all about women, because
Yes,
this chocolate is made by women. We have 100 female musicians on the album. So I want to ask this question. Have you faced any stereotypes or biases as a female musician, and how do you challenge or overcome?
Absolutely. I have definitely faced, sadly, I mean, sometimes, and actually being an electronic producer, music producer in this area, there's not a lot of women in that as well. So, I guess, with me, like I've definitely had situations where I'd be performing and maybe there was another group performing and they didn't take me seriously, or maybe they, dismissed me, or maybe they didn't turn up my volume on my microphone levels or so. Yeah, things like that. I think a lot of things that I said, well, maybe it's just musicians, but maybe it's because I am a woman, and I don't know the answer to that. But also, I think I want to make sure that I feel like that the product has to be, sometimes I think the product, I really want to make sure we have to work a little bit harder. That's what I have found, because still, I don't think people take women in male dominated industries seriously enough. They should. And actually, I just, started to get involved with Beats by Girls.
All right.
Yeah, so that's great. I'm really looking forward to that. That is a wonderful organization that empowers women in electronic producing. But yeah, I do. And that's another reason why I was so honored to be asked to be on your album, because it just, what you're doing is just so important and wonderful to have that, and to empower women, because we really need to be empowered. I think it's great, not that we need to be like, that we're like, incapable, certainly not, we're more than capable, but I think we need to be recognized. That's what I'm
visible.
Yeah. Recognized is more, in this industry, because it's it's easy to be dismissed in general in this industry,
or just overlooked.
Yeah, whatever gender you are, and I think, but I think that women are definitely breaking all these barriers. I see so many women DJs now, more than I have women electronic artists, that would just blow you away. It's incredible. But I wouldn't see that years ago in the 80s. If I was seeing something like DJs scratching and doing that, I would never see women. It was always men that I saw. So, yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. It is. I feel it is changing. and we need to have a voice, and we need to just be more visible and
Yes.
be available for. And what you're saying, yeah, if your product is good, then they cannot deny it in the end. It will take more time. It might take more force.
Yes.
Right? But yeah, I think we can make a change if we just support each other and try to just, make it more equal.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you see that in your law field as well?
Oh, absolutely. Because I feel like everything I do is in a male dominated area. So as a criminal defense lawyer, yes. There's a lot, there's women, there's always women in that, but now lately, oddly, right? So in the courtroom, I've noticed, and since in the past couple of years, because during COVID, I didn't practice in the courtroom. I was just in at home. But now that after COVID, I've gone back to being in court every day, almost every day. And I see there's very few women defense lawyers. It's always a lot of men, very few women. And I don't know if it's just because geographically or, I don't know what the reason is for that, but I've noticed that. And in general, going back though now 20 years, I wouldn't say it's 50-50. It's a little bit less, and so, like I said, a little bit more male dominated, and also in court with judges, yes, you do face that. And especially, because I'm my size too, I'm little. And so, I feel like it's easy for a judge that I don't know to think I'm a little kid or something. And, I'm always trying to battle that. And you want to make sure, I'm always thinking in the back of my head, make sure all of my work is perfect. And so that way I can't be, it leaves less room for a judge to maybe question, a judge that I don't know to maybe have some sort of idea in their head. Where there's, if another lawyer would go up there and represent, we could have the same client, and that other lawyer may get a better outcome if it's let's say he's an older, taller male, you know what I mean? So I try to fight against that.
Yeah, because it's clear that it is a factor.
And they all say, oh, no, it's not. It's not. I think that in the back of somebody's mind, it's just psychology. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
if you
don't even notice
an imposing figure versus little old me, you know what I mean? So, and that imposing figure may have none of the experience, or maybe he doesn't know about the law, and that's, it doesn't matter, because physically it's kind of a perception situation. That's what I think. Although, most of the judges that I know would never do that, but people, judges are people too. So you never know who you're going to bump into. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks. That's very, very clear. And we're making a change.
Right? Yes, we are. Yeah, definitely.
That's what we're doing. Let's go to the next question. What advice would you give aspiring women musicians who are starting their musical journey?
Well, definitely, like for me, I would do a lot more learning about the current technology. That's like, I always wish I could go back and say, I wish that I could get in, because obviously I grew up in the era. There was 8 tracks when I first started listening to music. Then we had, obviously records, and then cassettes, and then CDs. People growing up now, there's none of that. So they have to, I had no internet. I had nothing. I couldn't take advantage of everything now, the technology that we'd have to offer. So I would say learn as much as you can about that technology, and then networking, and, take advantage of all the opportunities you can. And if they're going to a place like Berklee, I did notice, as an older student at Berklee, I noticed that like I wanted to take advantage of everything I possibly could. But a lot of the younger kids that were 18, they were, I mean, some of them wouldn't even show up to class. You know, you would said they'd say, oh yeah, you know, they wouldn't take advantage of everything that say Berklee has to offer. I mean, because I never had that. I mean, I didn't go to school for music. I went for business and then law. It's still, we had none of the advantages that you have today. And I just think, wow, taking advantage of all of that would be, that's what I would do if I could just go back. So that's the advice I would give. Yeah. To learn as much as you can, learn as much as you can about the technology and master things, you know, and I think you'd be all set. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So how do you navigate the balance between staying true to your artistic vision and meeting maybe commercial expectations?
Well, you know, for me, it's a little bit different because it's electro swing. So electro swing is what it is, you know. Now with commercial expectations, you know, I mean, I guess I don't care about that because I'm at the point in my life, like that doesn't really matter to me. Although I would love to be, I mean, would love to submit for sync and movies and films and things like that. And I know it's a separate, you know, it's got to be tailored to that. But, you know, I enjoy doing electro swing. And if I can become better and better at that, then that's, you know, that's my I guess that's, you know, I really don't have to worry about the other thing. It doesn't really matter too much about, to me about that.
Yeah. And let's see. So I have one last question.
Yeah.
Are there any upcoming projects or goals you're excited about?
Yes. So Samuel and I have some new songs that we're working on. And, you know, I really can't wait to get going to that. As you know, I mean, my live setup, that has taken me about 2 months of study and cables and multiple like arrangements to try to get. So that's another thing that I'm really looking forward to. And now I'll be, you know, playing live with that. And then hoping to get maybe another EP out by the end of the year with some more original songs, maybe a couple of covers reworked for electro swing. Yeah, so that's what's on tap.
Beautiful. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast. And
thank you for having me. It's an honor. Really, it was an honor to be asked to do the podcast and for everything. Yes. And it was great to see you and talk to you. So, you know, catch up.
Yeah, I remember you sent me this track of like this really spherical bell-like synthesizer stuff. You sent that. And I was like, wow, this is so beautiful. Yeah.
Oh, that was when I was doing binaural beats. That's when I was doing that because I totally forgot about that. I started doing, producing binaural beats a couple of years ago because to kind of help in certain conditions. Like that one was for lowering blood pressure, I think.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, because the way you do it is binaural beats is there's one frequency in one ear, one frequency in the other ear. You have to listen using headphones. And the difference in those frequencies correspond to helping whatever condition in the body. So I don't remember off the top of my head the one for the difference with the blood pressure, but I would do that and I would you really can't hear the tones because I layer it with the nice sounds of the ocean or something like that. But I got the tones underneath there. And then I add like kind of like, you know, a meditation style music on top of that. And maybe it's like a 15-minute track and just relax so people can just sit back and relax. I mean, it's no substitute for medication, but it's just a little bit extra something. So yeah, I started doing that. I haven't done any more tracks lately since I've been involved with electro swing, but now you've just reminded me.
Yeah, because I remember in that video you sent me, you're performing it too, right? You're on the synthesizer and playing some add-ons, no?
Oh, no, that wasn't me. No, I think I must have, maybe it was, yeah, because I don't play this synthesizer. Yeah, but I did, yeah, maybe I sent you the, I must have sent you the background track. The video that I had was, I had the ocean or something like that. I forget.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to see. I'm gonna have to
That's cool.
see.
So you call that binaural?
Yes, binaural beats. Yeah.
Wow. I'm
Yeah.
gonna look that up. That's
Yeah,
fascinating.
you should.
And so there's a whole research on it that you
Yeah.
did?
Well, actually, this is definitely, if you look in, it's all over the internet. It's all over YouTube. There's many different YouTube channels that do this. There's like there's several of them that they do the same thing. And yeah, it really helps. I mean, if you get a headache, I put on like a headache music. Anything I can think of, like a relaxation, if you get some nervousness or anxiety or something like that, with the blood pressure, pain. I broke my shoulder a couple of years ago. I would listen to that too, and it helped. Helped to, even if it's just in your mind, just calm down. It's
Right.
It's been really helpful for me.
Is it related to the research you've been doing on EMDR? I don't know if you know that.
It's similar
Right.
to, it's similar, yeah. But yeah, this is so this has been around for a long time, and there's like a whole big there's a whole lot reference that which corresponds to the change in the frequencies for a certain purpose. Vertigo, I get dizziness since my stroke. I get dizzy all the time, and I can put that on. I like that. That helps me. Yeah, so there's a lot of things,
Wow.
and it's really nice.
Beautiful. Where can we find you and your music?
Sure. Okay. So it's just my name, ValerieGiglio.com. Or American would say ValerieGiglio.com, but in Italian it's ValerieGiglio.com. Yes.
Awesome. And I'll put it in the description so they'll
Okay,
be able
great.
to
Thank you.
actually
Yeah.
find it. Great. Thank you so much. And yeah,
Thank
let's
you.
be in touch.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, perfect.
Great.
As I conclude this episode of ViviTalks, I want to express my sincere gratitude for joining me in this musical journey. I hope you enjoyed exploring the stories and experiences of the incredible female musicians on my album. To stay updated on our latest episodes, subscribe to ViviTalks on your favorite podcast platform. Connect with me on social media through Virunga, and please check out my album Typuhthâng, a musical exchange featuring 100 female musicians to empower female cacao farmers of Virunga State Park in Congo. It's about more than just music. It's about making a positive impact in the world. Your support is part of that journey, so thank you once again for tuning in. Until next time, keep celebrating the power of music, and let's continue to amplify the voices of remarkable women in the industry. Stay inspired, stay empowered, and keep the music flowing. With love and gratitude. Till soon.